Hi everyone, there anybody here? And if yes, can you hear me? Yeah, just wait a couple of minutes before I get started. Just checking on the market. I was meant to do that on yesterday, but I got some issues, technical issues, so finally had to postpone to today. So still quite active today following the election in the US. It looks like the market is happy with the results, so okay, let's get started. If you have any questions or like you want me to, or you want to pause me or something, just post a message or something and just stop in. So get started with WTI crude oil that didn't actually follow the bullish we got on the market. I believe there's many reasons that WTI is still capped to the downside. We've seen some attempt today to break above 39.5, but we're having that 4 hours bearish divergence that's still in place. Did reject the attempt for now. We don't have follow through yet, but we could expect some pullback a bit lower. I would say probably 38, but potentially breaking lower. So we're still having that rising wedge that got broken. And if we take that as the exit, we can see that we could expect 37 as a first target, at least for the next move to the downside, and potentially breaking a little bit lower. So not much more for now. I'm still holding on a short position on this and see how we go. There's no reason to exit that short until we break 40.5 convincingly. For now that's not the case, and it looks like with that rejection we got today, that's on the 4 hours, so that's significant. If we can get some follow through, that should actually trigger some more move to the downside. Moving to natural gas, just checking, don't have any question. No, looking good. Yes, looking at natural gas. So we got inventory reports today. That report came rather bullish, but as quite often, this is more a trading game than really properly trading the report. So you can expect some wild movement around this. So it was bullish. So originally we got a move to the upside, did actually reject 3.10, and then we got a big follow through to the downside that I believe is a pure trading event that's triggering stop loss and all these things. So now we closed the hour here, a little bit lower than the trend line we are here, but still the momentum doesn't actually pick up. So until we actually break that $3 level, I believe we can still see some bounce to the upside, potentially going revisit a bit higher. So we had some head and shoulder figure that I saw would actually finalize something like this. It's not the best, but anyway, did clearly get invalidated here, so I don't believe this is valid anymore. So we are more ranging now in here. Should we actually break the $3 level, then we will drop very likely, close the gap down to 2.9, 2.90, but at this stage I'd rather wait and see how we actually develop here. There's still a potential chance to actually validate that divergence and actually push the price up back to 3.15 somewhere. So I'll be watching on natural gas. Looking at coffee, Coffee, interestingly, we got breakout just now. That could be the one. Of course, that will need to get cleared up, but the falling wedge was losing momentum completely if we look at the 4 hours. So we have that many touches on that trend line if we exclude the very large drop we got here. And I believe now we are pretty much now set up to go back up to 118. Should we not get strong rejection and of course another pullback inside the wedge and extending the wedge a little bit higher. So hopefully that one got that trend line got many touches here, 1, potentially 2, 3, 4, and now that would be a break out on this, so potentially it could be the one, but let's see if we can get some follow through here and don't get any pullback. So of course we can expect some pullback to retest the trend line, but then we will need something, a reaction that is actually pushing the price higher. So keeping an eye on this. I'm already fully in position on coffee, so I won't be adding here, but that was probably a good entry point here. Of course at the bottom when we did actually set up the divergence was a better entry point, but at that stage it was not necessarily the most obvious that it could actually still break lower. Looking now at copper. Copper could be an interesting short entry. We're still having that very large inverted cup and handle pattern here. That could be the end of that move to the upside we got here. Copper is more correlated to the actual economy and how China is doing the business in the world, which is not that bright at the moment compared to the stock market in the US that is more linked to the money supply. And we can see here we're having divergence that's on the 4 hours that did trigger from here. So I'm expecting a pullback to go back down to below 3.10 in the short term, but I could actually pull back much lower at $3 and finally break that very large rising wedge. The price been in for quite a while now, so as we can see here, it would mean that if we break that level here, now we are talking about that very big divergence here from that peak, which is pointing to 2.70. That would be the target, but let's wait for that candle to close today. It's still a little bit indecisive here, so we need something closing a little bit lower until we can actually set up a short position and ride that move to the downside. And finally, looking at gold, as we had potentially a very large breakout as well. So also here, be curious to see if it is not a false breakout. Of course, if we look at the momentum here, we had the 1 hour RSI, that trend line was capping all the momentum to the upside very nicely. So that setup here didn't actually manage to exceed the original 88. So potentially we could still have something like this. That's pushing it, of course, but still this is a divergence compared to that point here. It's not the best, but it could actually call this inside also still a very large cup and handle pattern. So again, a little bit cautious in jumping into this and trying to follow this, because it might actually be also a bull trap somehow that has been set up here. So we could extend this and make it looking something like this. A little bit stretching it, not saying this is the best thing, and definitely if we get follow through, let's say we break above 2000, then we'll have a clear change in the trend. But until then, I believe we're still at risk of seeing some rejection. So as we can see here on the 1 hour, that's a bit what's happening with that rejection on 1950. Of course, that next candle is not done yet, so we need to see what will happen here. And of course, it is possible to get follow through and a break much higher. But in case that wouldn't work, we could see some dramatic fall at least to 1860, but potentially breaking lower to the 1800 or even a bit lower. So careful with this, but I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this on gold. So yeah, that's all I wanted to cover for tonight. Yeah, you got anything, any question, or you want me something to cover in particular, or any question about what I've just shown right now, just let me know. I leave it open for a couple of minutes. Then if you got no questions or anything, then just move on and close the session. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll put the video so you can watch it later. Until I speak again with you, yeah, I wish you safe trading, and I see you around. Cheers, bye.